I'm Mr. Joseph, your chemistry teacher. So this video is for returning students who's coming back for A2. It's just an introduction to A2 chemistry. I just want to have the syllabus overview so that you have an idea of what you should be expecting by the time you come back for what A2. So I want us to listen attentively and get the best from this lecture, from this video. Thank you very much. So for the A2 chemistry route, there are 3 routes for Cambridge International AS and A-level chemistry, but we want to focus on the A2 chemistry route. Now you've done your AS, so you are coming back for A2. So we'll have to complete your A-level program. So we're going to concentrate on that. Now, for A-level stage over 2 years, you are running the program for 2 years. You've done year 1 AS, you've done year 1 AS. So that means where you did paper 1, paper 2, and what paper 3. Now for year 2 for year 2 where you complete the A level, which is the A2, you are going to do only paper 4 and paper and paper 5. So if you've done very well in your AS, you are coming back for A2, you are going to concentrate on paper 4 and paper 5, and that's what we'll be looking at today. The third one is the A level, which is those people that will complete that will run the program for just 1 year, not 2 years. So whereby you do paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, paper 4, and paper 5. But I want to focus on A2, where you just do paper 4 and paper and paper 5. Here you just take paper 4 and paper 5 only. So please, I want us to listen attentively as I proceed, so you have an understanding of what you are expecting and what you are coming to face. So please, I want us to listen attentively and get the best. Thank you very much. Now, I want to look at the weighting for assessment objectives. Now, the approximate weightings for allocated to each of the assessment objectives are summarized below. Now, we'll talk about assessment objectives. Now, I want to look at assessment objectives as a percentage of each qualification. Now, we'll have the assessment objective 1, which is what knowledge and understanding. Yes, you'll be tested for knowledge and what understanding, which is the AA1, known as what assessment objective 1. You'll be tested for knowledge and understanding. Now, weighting in AS level, you take 40% for AS, and for A level, you take 40%. Then we'll have assessment objective 2, which is handling, applying, and evaluating information, which is 40% AS and 40% A level. Then assessment objective 3, which is experimental skills and investigation, where you'll be tested for experimental skills and investigations. That will take it will take 20% in AS and 20% if you are doing the A level program. So the total will be 100. So we'll talk about assessment objective. We'll have knowledge and understanding, which is the assessment objective 1. We'll have handling, applying, and evaluating information, which is assessment objective 2. And then we'll have experimental skills and investigation, which is assessment objective 3. And the weighting in AS and weighting in A level is shown. So it's as simple as that. If you add everything, total will give you 100. So that is weighting for assessment objectives. So you have the knowledge of the assessment objectives, which is knowledge and understanding, handling and applying, and evaluating information, experimental skills, and investigation. So we're looking at weighting for assessment objectives. So when we talk about the weighting for assessment objectives, it has to do with each of the components. Assessment objective has a percentage of each component, each of the papers. In AS we have paper 1, 2, and 3. Then in A2 we have paper 4 and 5. And this video is centered on A2. So we want to concentrate on A2. And let's see where each of these assessment objectives will be assessed. Now we'll look at assessment objective 1. For A2 student, it will be tested in paper 4. Assessment objective 1 will be tested in paper 4, which is knowledge and understanding. 50% of knowledge and understanding will be tested in paper 4. Then it will not be tested in paper 5. So assessment objective 1, which is knowledge and understanding, will only be tested in paper 4 and not in paper in paper 5. So because in A2 you are just writing paper 4 and paper 5, you concentrate on paper 4 and paper 5. You've done paper 1 and paper 2 and paper 3. Now, if you look at your AS company, discover that assess knowledge and understanding is tested in paper 1, tested in paper 2, and it's not tested in paper 3. So you are coming back for A2. Knowledge and understanding will be tested only in paper 4 for A2 and not in paper 5. So 0%. So it will not be tested in paper 1, in paper 5. Then the next one is handling, applying, and evaluating information. It will only be 50% of it will be tested in paper 4 and it will not be tested in paper 5. So please, I want us to take note of that. It has already been tested in paper 1, paper 2, and it was not tested in paper 1, 3 when you did your AS. So handling, applying, and evaluating information, which is assessment objective 2, is only tested in paper 4 and not in paper 5 for A2 students. Then the next one is assessment objective 3, which is experimental skills and investigation. Yes, experimental skills and investigation. This assessment is only tested in paper 5 and is not tested in paper 4. So experimental skills and investigation is only tested in paper 5 and is not tested in paper it's not tested in paper 4. So please, I want us to take note of that. For A2, it's only tested in paper 5, but it's not tested in paper 4. In your AS, experimental skills and investigation was only tested in paper 3, which is 100%. It's only tested in paper 3, which is 100%. So if you look at it, in paper 4, knowledge and understanding, handling and applying, and evaluating information is tested in paper 4. So if you add everything, 50 plus 50 give you 100%. Then if you come to assessment objective 3, which is experimental skills and investigation, is only tested in paper 5 for A2 students, which is what, 100%. So please, I want us to take note of that. We're going to talk about knowledge and understanding. We'll explain more on knowledge and understanding, handling, applying, and evaluating information, which is assessment objective 2, and experimental skills and investigation. So it's only tested it's a practical skill, only tested in paper 3 and paper 5. For A2, it's only tested in paper 5. You will have planning, analysis, and evaluation. So please take note of that. So just to dive in deeply into assessment objectives. So we are starting with assessment objective 1, which is knowledge and understanding. So candidates should be able to demonstrate knowledge and understanding of scientific phenomena, facts, laws, definitions, concepts, and theories. It has to do with knowledge and understanding. There's scientific vocabulary, terminology, and conventions, including symbols, quantities, and units, scientific instruments and apparatus, including techniques of operation and aspects of safety, scientific quantities and their determination, scientific and technological application with their social, economic, and environmental implications, reason explanation for phenomena, patterns, and relationships. So this has to do with what knowledge and what understanding. Candidates should be able to demonstrate knowledge and understanding of this concept. Is very, very important. So these are the things that will be assessed when they come to assessment objective 1, which is knowledge and understanding. So candidates should have a knowledge of these facts for when you talk about what knowledge and what and understanding, which is assessment objective 1. So still on assessment objectives. Now assessment objective 2, which has to do with handling, applying, and evaluating information, will be assessed in paper 4 for A2 students, and it will not be assessed in paper 5. While for AS, it will be assessed in paper 1 and paper 2, and not in paper 3. So when it has to do with handling, applying, and evaluating information, candidates should be able to handle, apply, and evaluate information in words or using other forms of presentation. Example, we talk about symbols, graphical, numerical. So candidates should be able to locate, select, organize, and present information from a variety of sources, from different sources. Candidates should be able to translate information from one form to another. Candidates should be able to manipulate numerical and other data when giving data, or when giving numerical data or other data. Candidates should be able to handle and manipulate data. Then candidates should be able to use information to identify patterns, report trends, and draw conclusions. When giving information, you should be able to identify the patterns, report trends, and draw conclusions. Candidates should be able to give reasoned explanation for phenomena, patterns, and relationships. Candidates should be able to make predictions and construct arguments to support hypotheses. Candidates should be able to make sense of new situations, evaluate hypotheses, demonstrate an awareness of the limitations of chemical theories and models, then solve problems. So this will only be assessed in paper 4 for A2 students and not in paper 5. While for AS, it will be assessed in paper 1 and 2, which is handling, applying, and what? Evaluating information. So still on assessment objectives, this assessment objective 3, which is experimental skills and investigations. This is a practical skill and it's assessed only in paper 3 and paper 5. If for A2 student, it is only assessed in paper 5. It's not assessed in paper 4. For AS student, it's only assessed in paper 3. It's not assessed in paper 1 and 2. So candidates should be able to what? Plan experiments and investigations. Yes, your ability to plan experiment and investigations. Candidates should be able to what? Collect, record, and present observations, make measurements, and what? Estimates. Candidates should be able to analyze and interpret experimental data to reach conclusions. The candidate should be able to what? Evaluate methods and quality of experimental data and suggest improvements to experiment. So it will be assessed in paper 5 for A2 student. Paper 5, which is planning, analysis, and what? And evaluation. So that is where experimental skills and investigations, which is assessment objective 3, will be fully what? Assessed. So please, I want us to take note of that. So we are looking at assessment overview for each of the papers. So we are looking at paper 4, which is A-level structured question, and it will last for 2 hours and take a total of 100 marks. Now in paper 4, assessment objective 1, which is knowledge and understanding, will be assessed in paper 4, and the assessment objective 2, which is handling, applying, and evaluating information, be assessed in paper 4. So the questions are based on the A-level syllabus content. So knowledge of material from the AS syllabus content will be required. So if you've thrown away your chemistry note, please go and take note of it. Go and look for it. So please, the knowledge you acquire from your AS in chemistry will be assessed in what? In A2, which will be assessed in paper 4. So knowledge of material from the AS level syllabus content will be required. So please take note of that. And it will be what? Externally assessed. And it will take 38.5% of your total score. To take 38.5% of the A level, which is paper 4. So what happened? Assessment objective 1, knowledge and understanding. Assessment objective 2, handling, applying, and evaluating information will be assessed in paper 4. So it's very, very important. So please take note of that. So we're looking at paper 5, which is planning, analysis, and evaluation, and it will take 1 hour 15 minutes, which is 30 marks. Now, questions are based on the experimental skills of planning, analysis, and what? Evaluation. So in paper 5, it is only what? Experimental skills and investigation that will be what? That will be assessed, which is assessment objective 3. So the context of the questions may be outside the syllabus content, but I just want to assure you that what? Every information you need to answer the question will be provided on the paper. So please take note of that. And it will be what? Externally assessed, which will take 11.5% of your total score. So 11.5% of the A-level content. So please take note of that. It's very, very important. Planning, analysis, and evaluation. 1 hour 15 minutes. Total of 30 marks. So questions are based on the experimental skills and investigation. Experimental skills of planning, analysis, and what? And evaluation. And it's going to take 11.5% of your entire grade or your entire score. So please take note of that. So I want to look at the content overview for specifically A2 chemistry, because this video is meant for A2, those that are coming back for A2. So the content overview, we will have physical chemistry. We'll be talking about chemical energetics, electrochemistry, equilibrium, and reaction kinetics. Under chemical energetics, we'll talk about enthalpy. Under electrochemistry, we'll talk about electrolysis, electrolytic cell, and electrochemical cell. Under equilibrium, we'll talk about ionic equilibrium, we'll talk about partition coefficient, then we talk about solubility product and the rest. Then under reaction kinetics, we'll talk about rate of reaction, first order, second order, zero order reaction, and the rest. So please, for physical chemistry, these are the content overview. So these are the content overview for inorganic chemistry A2. So we'll be looking at group 2, looking at the chemistry of the transition elements. So for group 2 elements, which are the alkaline earth metals, we're going to talk about the thermal stability of the group 2 nitrates and the group 2 carbonates. So for chemistry of transition element, we're talking about transition element, we're talking about ligand substitution, complex, and the rest. So this is the content overview for inorganic chemistry, which are group 2 elements and what? Chemistry of the transition elements. So content overview, organic chemistry A2. So we'll be looking at introduction to A-level organic chemistry, where we'll have hydrocarbons, which are compounds of carbon and hydrogen. We'll talk about the aromatic hydrocarbons and the aliphatic hydrocarbons. Then we'll talk about halogen compounds, which are the halogenoalkanes and the haloarenes. Then we'll talk about hydroxy compounds, which are the alcohols and aromatic alcohols. Then we'll be looking at carboxylic acid and derivatives of carboxylic acid. We'll be looking at nitrogen compounds, talk about amines, amides, and the rest. Then we'll look at polymerization. Here we'll talk about condensation polymerization and addition polymerization. Here we'll be looking at more of condensation polymerization that leads to the formation of polyesters and polyamide. Then we'll look at organic synthesis generally. So these are the content overview for organic chemistry work A2. So we'll be looking at content overview, analytical technique for A2. So under analytical technique, we'll be talking about nuclear magnetic resonance as an analytical tool. We'll be looking at electrophoresis. We'll be looking at chromatography. We'll talk about paper chromatography, gas liquid chromatography, and thin layer chromatography. So analytical technique in general. Then we'll look at partition coefficient also under what analytical what technique, which is that to do with solvent extraction. So these are components of what analytical technique. So next is command words. Yes, words are very, very important. Command words are very, very important. Every subject has its own command words. Every subject has its own terminologies, and you need to understand the terminology of every word subject for you to answer the questions accurately. Now we'll look at command words that they use in asking questions in chemistry. Then the first one is what? Analyze. What does it mean? When you're asked to analyze, it means examine in detail to show meaning, identify elements, and the relationship between them. Then if you're asked to calculate, what you're asked to do is to work out from given facts, figures, or information. Then compare. How to do identify stroke, comment on similarities or differences. Then we'll talk about consider. If you're asked consider, that's to do with review and respond to given information. Then we'll talk about contrast. It has to do with identify stroke, comment on differences. Then you're asked deduce, means conclude from available what information. Then define, give precise meaning. Demonstrate, show how or give an example. Describe, state the points of a topic, so give characteristics and main features. Then determine, establish an answer using the information that is what available. So these are the command words and their meaning. So it's very, very important you understand the command words and you know how to what apply them in answering questions. So still on command words, we have evaluate. It means to judge or calculate the quality, importance, amount, or value of something. Examine, investigate closely in detail. Explain, set out purposes or reasons. Stroke, make the relationship between things evident. Stroke, provide why or how, and support with relevant evidence. So if you're asked to give, produce an answer from a given source or recall, stroke memory. Then identify, name, select, recognize. Justify, support a case with evidence, stroke argument. If you're asked to predict, suggest what may happen based on available information. Show that, provide structured evidence that leads to a given result. Sketch, make a simple drawing showing the key features. State, express in clear terms. Suggest, apply knowledge and understanding to situations where there are a range of valid responses in order to make proposals, stroke put forward considerations. So these are what command words when it comes to what chemistry. So we should know how to use them very, very well because it's very, very important. It will go a long way to determine how you answer questions correctly. So this is just introduction to A2 chemistry syllabus overview for those of you that are coming for A2. I'm Mr. Joseph, your chemistry teacher. Feel free to reach out to me if you encounter any challenge or any difficulty. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, comment, share, and reach out to me if you encounter any difficulty. I'm always there for you. I'm Mr. Joe, your chemistry teacher. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, comment, and share. Thank you.